Welcome to Witches of Three.
Speak free. Speak free. Talking about witches. Talking about...
Right.
We have guests today. We have guests in the shop like all the time right now. They're like everywhere. But we have one special guest that's with us right now. Introduce.
Oh, man. This is my sister, Kimberly. She is the other part of S&K Kraftworks with me. She's the major part. Kim has been with Spiritworks since the beginning, helping us. She does readings every once in a while, but now we have her officially on lock on Wednesdays. Do you open?
Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
Wednesday morning she opens and she does readings for us. And hopefully soon we'll start doing Witchy Wednesdays by S&K Kraftworks. So Kim, first... So she offers a wide variety of talents, but let's talk about your product first, because what you're bringing into the shop is amazing. And then we'll talk about what she offers spiritually.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
Yay! We're so excited to have you.
Yeah. Thank you. So the products I have created and put out, it comes from an idea. It's called the She-Wolves. I am a huge history buff. I'm a total nerd that way. Just stick me in a library and let me read fun facts and stuff. So I was hearing this idea from other historians called the She-Wolves, and it's basically a classification of a certain type of queen or noble person way back then who may not have been as saintly or angelic that most fairy tale queens and princesses are. So they're women that had to move in very limited spaces and very limited lanes and just basically said, damn it all, I need to do this. I need to do whatever I can, lay waste to people, be cunning, be slick, be, just kind of, take their lives in their own hands and, just move with authority and move with their own understanding of divinity. The whole idea is we are all divine in our own ways, and I think it's important that everyone recognizes their own divinity, that when you know that and are sure with that, you will walk the way you are meant to, with authority, with agency, damn the patriarchy. I don't know if I can say the
You can.
Kyla said something just in a conversation we were having earlier about these women actually knew what it was like to be endowed with the authority to work with divine energy. They were seen as, and if you're an Anglophile, as Kim is, you understand that the ancient kings and queens of Great Britain and Ireland, really honestly, the queens were a part of the earth. The goddess was the queen. Mm-hmm. The queen was everything. The ancient Celts were matriarchal in their society and their structure, and in the royalty in Europe today still has a lot of that energy still. But back then, the queen was the earth, and all of the celebrations that celebrate the divine goddess involved that type of understanding. So when you're told that you are a goddess and you are divine,
God chose you,
God chose you, or the goddess chose you, whatever, you move differently. You move with a different authority. And
we want you to move with that authority.
As we fucking do everywhere we go.
Exactly. They were literally told that they were divine.
And look at their actions. Look
how they acted.
Yes.
They were she-wolves.
Yes.
They were she-wolves.
And historians, a lot of them are male and a lot of them are white. And so
it is seen through the male gaze.
Yes, it's said in a derogatory term of like...
Or a complete oblivious and not understanding.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Go ahead. Yes.
No. Go ahead.
One of our viewers called it perfectly man-washed.
Yes.
Man-washed
Through
history.
the male
Sasha
gaze.
Harris, we love you.
Yes.
You're one of our Patreons.
Yeah.
That's a shirt.
Yeah.
Man-washed.
Man-washed. Because we say whitewashed, washed, but that means a lot of the same thing. But with the queens, you definitely have to say man-washed.
Yes. You could take, for example, one that I'm studying, obviously, like Henry VIII.
We've all.
Yeah. So
I could not believe when we did a live and Kim was introducing Anne Boleyn, the scent. And we did it the day after she was
her execution.
Her execution. Anyway, and so I was researching her birth chart, and so of course we're not like super definitive on her time. We have to look at certain different things. But I was so amazed to find a certain sect that was kind of going against what events happened and where the stars could be, but they wanted her stars to be this because they were Henry VIII sympathizers.
Yeah, there's so
and
many
they
of them out
painted
there.
her. They made her astrological chart as such to where she's a nasty, manipulative witch.
Yeah.
And I could not believe that.
Yeah, yeah. So taking Henry VIII, because most people do at least know.
You would
of
know
him. You
him.
know,
Yeah.
If
Henry
nothing else,
Italian,
yeah,
Henry
the
Italian,
Six
I am.
wives,
Yeah.
the divorce,
Bloody
beheaded,
Mary.
died, divorce, beheaded. Well, we all know that sort of tales about him, but a lot of people like to say, oh, well, he created the Navy. He was very charismatic. He was athletic. All the ladies loved him. The first part of his reign,
he was a Cancer
jolly,
male. He was
jolly
awful.
king. And then they like to say that like something must have happened to him to make him the baddie that honestly he did turn out to be. But if you were to flip it on like a woman, let's say Elizabeth I, his daughter, I was honestly listening to a podcast earlier this morning, of course, about how there's definitely a divide between Henry VIII was, oh, something must have happened to him to make him that way, but Elizabeth I was vain, demanding, mercurial, would throw fits, get angry at her courtiers, like, oh, she had to be, placated to, you had to feign love for her. So honestly, if you look at it historically, those two ruled pretty accurate, like pretty similarly, but Elizabeth has this sort of narrative and Henry is still the great all-around king who just did some bad stuff. Yeah. And it's like, no, we're going to change the narrative.
So
here.
what's interesting is Henry and Anne had a lot of the same similar chart movements, and then Elizabeth shows that a lot in her own chart, but she shows the evolved side.
Yeah.
Yes.
She shows, because if you watched her live and you can look at it, I find like Henry and Anne's like karmic link, they were supposed to, blow up that way, but they were supposed to give us Elizabeth.
The golden age.
She ruled a lot like Henry in a lot of ways, but it depends on how you look at history.
Had to.
But she had
She had
her
no
choice. Faith, honest. Like she was very much.
She knew that truth, just like Anne Boleyn's the truth.
Anne Boleyn's like a word is truth, because she did know. The interesting thing about Anne is she was considered a commoner. She was not told by her court or her advisors, "Oh, you're divine. You were picked. You were chosen." She already knew it.
She was
a
supposed to be his
commoner.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was supposed to be his mistress.
And she said
supposedly.
no, because
Yes.
I am better than that.
I am divine. So
Yeah.
with that, just like Anne, everyone is divine. It's just a matter of like, you have to know it and you have to trust it.
And own
and
it.
and own it. Own
And
your own
people are going to
agency,
say their
own your
own
autonomy.
stories about you.
Yes. Yes. Some of the stuff you may have to do would not be considered divine. or angelic.
You're the villain in somebody's story.
Exactly.
No
Everybody
matter
has
what,
to.
everybody's the villain in somebody's story, and I think that's why these are so important. Like
Yeah.
you guys have been working with, you guys fucking encroached upon shadow work in 2020, and still,
Listen, all the stars said we had to. We had to.
Still, I owe you guys carried this cross across the summer of 2020.
It was hard. It was
working
hard.
on shadow work. And so when this came out, I was just like, that is like the culmination of that work you guys did last year,
Yeah.
and helping these women find power in being the darker side of themselves. We all have a dark side. We've all wronged somebody.
And like, if you know the Witches of Three,
perception.
like, we found our power in our darkness, and that's how that's why
we came together.
that's
why
why
That's why we. That's
exactly.
how
I don't know
that
how else to say that,
is
but that's
we.
why we.
Yeah,
like,
that's why we.
why
Why we.
I don't know how else to say it, but that's why we do whatever we do.
Yeah.
It's very much People can talk about this or that, but like all of us found our power in our fucking darkness and our
Darkest of
depths.
times.
And a lot of people don't want to talk about that and don't want to claim that. And Kim has come out with this brilliant line that is these ladies that just, you know, found their power in like the ultimate darkness.
They
and
found their divinity in the darkness.
Yes.
So it's important to know that it's not just the love and light.
People think divinity
It's the
is
all.
just, and a lot of people have a really hard time, especially with who we encounter, because we encounter, people don't understand that like you start to question things and you come to our path after trauma. Like that is kind of a natural thing. But we have so many people because of that won't accept their divinity because of what happened to them.
Yes.
And so we're trying to say, listen, a lot of things happen to these bitches, and that's why they acted why they did, but they are still divine. You know, being divine is not this Jesus was not this angelic thing that everyone paints him to be. You read those gospels they took out, that motherfucker killed a child. That motherfucker blinded a whole village when he had a tantrum. Like, this is how spirit has to work in different ways sometimes and manifests in all sorts of ways. And these she-wolves embody that perfectly. And that's really, it just fits along with us so well, because everybody has darkness. You don't have light without that darkness, and don't let anyone tell you that you're not empowered by that.
There's healing within the darkness, finding who you really are, working through your pain and trauma. These were women who the door was slammed on them multiple times and told to sit the fuck down, let the men handle it. And they were like, well, I can't move this way, so I'm gonna go another way and
move how I gotta move.
You know, push y'all out so I can work with my authority and what I know to be true and what I can do. And I think, and the thing was, we have worked with like goddesses. We mostly do kind of, you know, we focus on goddesses with S&K, but what I wanted to do is bring forth actual women that have walked on this earth, that have moved about same situation, the same sort of, you know, bodies that we have, and just were like, screw you, this is mine and I'm taking it.
Yep.
And that's very inspiring to me, and I truly believe that these women are walking with us now. You know, when you are moving towards, you know, healing yourself or the job interview, you know, whatever you're moving towards, like, they're with us as well.
When you quit a job, when you leave a marriage, when you take that leap and start your business, when you do all those things, these women's stories can be inspiration to you. And I think that's what Kim does. And just to lead into what we really want you to talk about, which is like your own magic. You know, we have to recognize that there are people out in the world right now who are finding their power and maybe using it for not necessarily the highest good, or maybe wielding powers that they haven't yet developed.
That's a big one.
Yeah, and
stepping into the fray too soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people, like I said, like, you know, Kim and I, like, she's going to talk a little bit about her abilities and how we grew up, but a lot of our power was found in the darkness, and I understand how that's kind of hard to translate. So we're going to kind of talk about that, because even though you find your power in the darkness doesn't mean that you need to sell it to everybody right at that time.
Right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because you found it doesn't mean it's for sale.
So-
It shouldn't be for sale.
Right, you should sit with your.
You should sit with it.
your gift. You should sit with the
Yes.
tools that you're learning with for a while. And
For a
there's not a
while.
set number. It's not like study this for 3 years, because there is no. We've talked this before. There's no governing board of witches
Right.
that says,
No.
"Hey, you're a
There's
graduate."
not a
unless-
curriculum.
Well, I mean, in our world there isn't. I guess in some places there are. Which is why we don't like offer you apprenticeship in that same way that other people do.
And
or
print
like,
certificates off of, from
Right.
office. Because,
Right.
you know,
We're gonna
not going to print off a certificate
try
saying
to
that you're something that
teach
we're
you
not.
things on a level of those foundations. And I feel like Kim and Kyla have both done that very well in learning all of these aspects, like maybe not an umbrella term, but an aspect which also gives her license to say that she's a medium. Now, we all talk to spirit, but she's the only one in the store that I say, this is our medium, because I know that she has not only done all the other groundwork, foundational work, but also trained under a medium and developed these gifts
Studied
without
it.
selling it on her own, doing this work, and has been doing it her whole life. Honestly, this was just like that development.
Yeah.
But I mean, she
But you
really
gotta
did that
do that
work
a
and
little bit.
waited until she felt like she had sat with it long enough to say, I can put that name on myself.
Yeah.
And I
So
think that's
it
a
took a
big
while.
thing.
So,
That's a big thing.
to make
It's
it clear,
huge.
Kim's here on Wednesdays and she does tarot readings, but Kim is also our medium, our resident medium. So, Kim, can you tell us what mediumship means?
Please.
Okay. Well, mediumship is connecting with spirit, big S, and seeing, for lack of a better word, who comes through. They're usually in spirit. It's people who see spirits, who see ghosts, who see energy. And the term, the actual medium, is you are kind of the bridge between this world and the other world, and you kind of have to meet in the middle, literally, and try to convey a message that from someone who has passed. So you're basically a go-between. I like to say you're a vessel, and you just kind of, see who comes through, see who needs help. Somebody wants to talk to their loved ones or get a message. They sit with me, and we just kind of have a conversation of whoever comes through. So medium is basically someone who talks to spirits, who talks to ghosts, other beings. Things
So,
like that.
what's the difference between like being a medium and a psychic?
Okay, this is a big
Meat
big
potatoes.
thing.
Okay.
This is a big thing. So basically, I will say, and I have written this note down because I always get it wrong.
I'm with you, Kim.
Me
I got
too.
you.
Okay, so the gist is we need, in order to work with spirit and order to work with energy, we all have psychic abilities and psychic senses and strengths, but we all know everybody's psychic, but not everyone is a medium. So the saying goes, you have to be psychic to be a medium because you need your psychic senses to understand the interpretations that come through, but not every psychic is a medium.
Yes.
And I know not everybody
Bring it home, Kim.
ascribes to that, but
Right.
I from reading and listening to the talks and everything, mediumship is a gift. The act of bringing someone forward and talking to a live person and conveying that message is a gift. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't connect to spirit on your own or get messages or talk to your loved ones. Like, that is different because that is up to the individual. But as far as like relaying a message, being a vessel, understanding the message, being trained to, that's not bestowed to everybody. Now, a lot of people do have the gift, they just haven't developed it. So, I wouldn't say it's only like the rarest few. There's more than we know, but you have to develop it.
And oftentimes those are the people that come in and they're like, I'm hearing voices. And not to say that there's not schizophrenia and all those sort of things, but a lot of the time, the people that we deal with that come in and they're like, I hear voices.
Extra sensitive.
My uncle won't leave me alone. All these things. I don't understand it. It's because they have not been trained in mediumship.
Right.
So they're just getting energy and static and like unclear messages, and it feels
And they're
frustrating.
afraid of it.
And they're afraid of it. They're
afraid of
living in
it.
fear. And so that manifests physically, and they're having physical issues and stuff like that. And people want to say that's a demon. And I'll say it that for the 1000th motherfucking time, demons have better shit to do than to fuck with you.
Better shit to do
I
than
don't
fuck
like
with
the
you.
demon term. No.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, I'm going to get into some things.
We're always gonna.
But one of my things, so before I really got on the witch path, I wanted to be a demonologist like a long time ago. And I applied to the Catholic Church because there's different ways to be a demonologist, but one of the biggest ways is to get backed by a church, and to study demons and everything. Anyway, and so I'm working with these ladies at Aquarium, And they're really great with me. I'm like, I want to clear houses. I want to do this. I need to figure this out. And if Kim talks about her childhood stuff, you'll figure it out. But if she doesn't, we'll maybe talk about it another time. But I had this thing, like, I need to clear houses. This is where I need to work. And Shanna's like, oh, fucking okay. You know? And so I got them all. I got them all.
Yeah.
I got them all. And I'm like doing them all. And I'm studying the whole time because, you know, I'm me. I'm weird and I study things. But, you know, and I can say this for most of Oklahoma, this is going to be controversial, but I've wanted to say this for a long time. I have never found demons where I have not found Jesus. They go hand in hand. That's all I'm going to say.
They also, like,